to Driven to Lead, this dynamic leadership podcast designed to inspire, educate, and empower current and emergent leaders throughout Cobb County. I'm Dr. Jackie McMorris, Cobb's County Manager. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the Water Systems Leadership Development Program. I'm joined by three incredible guests: Judy Jones, Director of the Water System; Phoebe Torres, the Water Systems Departmental HR Supervisor and one of the program's developers; and Rakesh Darji, a supervisor within the water system who's actually experienced the program firsthand. So whether you're participating in a former leadership development program or simply committed to growing your own leadership capabilities, today's conversation will provide you with practical insights and actionable inspiration you can implement immediately in your current role. So let's dive in. Alrighty, so thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I think the podcasts have been awesome in trying to educate and inspire our leaders across the county. So thank you for being here. I am so excited to hear about this program that you created. So we were just talking and I asked you to talk a little bit about leadership, and you shared with me that you had created you all's own leadership development program. So Judy, tell me a little bit about how this program came to fruition and what the focus or goal of the program is.
Okay. So when I became director in 2020, we were having some issues with some of our entry-level supervisor positions, trying to fill those positions. So I wanted to create some leadership training. The county has a supervisory development program, which is great about the technical aspects of being a supervisor, but I wanted to help staff with some of those soft leadership skills. So I pulled in our communications director, Jennifer McCoy. I gave her my vision and I gave it to her to run with it, and then she asked two other staff people to work with her, Phoebe Torres and Kathy Wynn, to put together a class and a program, and they have been the main instructors for the program.
So they actually facilitate the program?
Yes, they do.
Awesome. I love that. So you know what's exciting to me about the program is that you saw a gap, you saw a need, and it just kind of evolved into a vision, and then allowing your team to come up with how they wanted this program to evolve, right? And it reminds me of a quote from Mark Twain where he says, leadership can come from anywhere, right? It can come from any direction. It most likely evolves from the bottom up, so it doesn't necessarily have to come from the top down. So I like the fact that your team took the initiative to create something that they thought would fit their leadership needs. Awesome. Alrighty, so thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Phoebe, tell me a little bit about the program and what it means to you.
The program is a 12-week program that has 6 courses, and it's over a course of, like I said, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And so the first 5 are content rich, and each day focuses on a different aspect that we want to hone in on with the cohort. On the first week, for example, it talks about who am I? We do a personality test prior, and then as we get into the class, we have each of the cohorts see how they rank in relation to the other members in the course.
Right.
Then from there, we go on topics as it relates to who they are and how they relate and interact with other people. And so for me, it's been such a huge blessing to be able to be a part of this opportunity, because sometimes when you fill yourself up, it's always great to find a place to be able to kind of give back and let that back out.
Right. I like the way that you talk about how it builds from our own supervisory development program. Can you talk a little bit about how they are connected or how they are related to each other, and then perhaps how it expands on that program?
Well, like Judy touched on, the supervisory development program that's here within Cobb focuses on a lot of policies and how to implement those things when it comes to disciplinary actions with employees. Our focus is more so on the soft skills. So I say that it complements it. It complements it because employees are ready to see, okay, how can I be a better supervisor? How can I relate more to my staff? How can I interact better with my coworkers in a way that we don't bump heads, so to speak? And so I feel that it fills that gap, fills that need there.
Right, and we were talking earlier about critical conversations, and how sometimes that's difficult to have, right? Those courageous conversations and critical conversations. Talk to me about how the course perhaps prepares young leaders to have those kinds of conversations with those who report to them.
Well, one of the things that we touch on is even something as small as microaggressions. Someone being able to look at that and say, okay, I identify that those are microaggressions, because it's not always blatant, right? It's not obvious. You can't always just see that it is. And once you're able to identify it and you realize, okay, is this something that I should touch on? Is this something that I could let go? Is it gentle ribbing, or is this person really taking a stab and now I need to address it?
Wow, and sometimes that means really focusing on what you are hearing.
Yes.
And questioning whether or not that's really how I should be perceiving it or receiving it, right?
Exactly.
So just having people be cognizant of the fact that not everything may be what you think it is, and maybe some self-introspection.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I love that. That's great. So let's talk a little bit more, Phoebe, with how do you successfully navigate the transition from being a doer or the employee who has now been promoted or transitioned into a leadership or supervisory role?
Now, personally as a supervisor myself, or how do we talk about that in the...
Either, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as a supervisor, I would say that's a great question, because it was one that was a bit of a challenge for me. Now I get excited by it. I'm excited by it and being able to navigate that. But at first I take pride in making sure that the outcome is 100%. I want to give my best. When I bring something to the director, I've looked over it, I've re-looked over it, I've gone back over it again, because I want that final product to be something that she says, okay, let's move forward with it, instead of having to constantly fix it. So I try to do my best at that. And so when someone else doesn't do that, it's like, ah!
Yeah.
But
especially when you've been like as a peer.
Yes.
Right? And now you're supervisor. So I know there are probably supervisors out there who had friends or peers or work very closely with coworkers, and now they've been promoted or transitioned into another role, and now they're the boss, so to speak, of that person. And that can be challenging, right? But again, your advice to people who are in that situation would be?
Just to give grace.
Yeah.
Just to give grace and realize that if the end outcome is what was expected, is what we needed, all the little roads that took us to get there are not that important.
Right.
Give that person the autonomy to work through it and do it the way that they see fit. And if it gets us to the end goal, smile and keep moving.
And focus on the accomplishment that you're trying to reach, right?
Yes.
As opposed to the personality or the person. Because we all come to work every day with some baggage.
Yes.
We all come with some things. So I like the fact that you say, give grace to people, but let's stay focused on the task at hand. And then it doesn't become personal, right? All right, I like that.
I would like to add to that also give them grace to make mistakes.
Yes.
Because sometimes you learn by making mistakes. If you're always telling the employee exactly what to do because you don't let them make a mistake, they don't learn from that, and they don't learn to think through the process. So you have to be willing to let them make a few mistakes and then gently coach them on what would be the correct path.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. And not everybody's going to do it the way we do it, right? And so sometimes when we talk about delegating and relinquishing something and you give it to someone, we also have to leave it with them and allow them to do it in a way that is comfortable for them, as long as it meets the end goal or the outcome, right? So I like that. We were just talking about that this morning, about how we have to sometimes delegate and be comfortable enough to leave it with them, to let them grow through it, because a lot of the growth comes from learning from missteps sometimes, and giving them grace is the way that we learn. Alrighty, so what strategies do you employ when having those difficult conversations around performance appraisals? We're at this time of the year where we should be progressing through our goals, and we should be right at our progress discussion number 1 and having those conversations. So in the course, do you all talk a little bit about how to have those conversations around performance?
Yes, we do. We have a section where we do talk about having those crucial conversations.
Yes.
having that sandwich, you know, starting something good, incorporating some things in areas where they could make some changes, some tweaks, give some ideas and tools that can help them, and then kind of putting that bottom bun on and just saying, hey, overall we appreciate you and the value that you bring. And you find when you utilize that sandwich method, people absorb it and can kind of digest that sandwich a lot better than, here's the meat, buddy, let's get to it. So,
and I like it. I know that our progress discussions take time. The entire performance management system takes time, but I do believe that these are opportunities that you have to carve out to help people grow, to help them to see what they're doing well, as you said initially, and then areas where we can grow and improve. All right, let's talk a little bit about some leadership qualities. In my May podcast, I was with our fire chief, as you all know, Michael Cunningham. And in the book that we talked about, The Talent War, there were several 18 qualities, right? Like drive and flexibility and humility. So talk to me a little bit about how these characteristics, if at all, are incorporated into the program, either of you. Anybody?
Honestly, I feel like all three are at the core of what it is that we hope to teach in all the areas. When you talk about flexibility, getting to the core of understanding people, understanding others, where they fall in certain parameters and aspects. And then from there, even saying, okay, let's make this pivot. Let's understand where they're coming from, and not, like we talked about, perception, not perceive it as something that's negative, but being willing to take a step back, take a breath, and look at the situation, and then come up with a different course of action.
I think leaders have to really truly understand that flexibility is your friend. It has to be there, because every day something different can pop up, right? If you've been in a situation where you come to work and you have your entire day planned, and all of a sudden one thing changes and it flips the script on your entire day. So being able to be flexible, right, to be pliable is important as a leader. So let's talk a little bit about how did you all initially come up with what content should be included in your leadership development program?
Well, the leaders, we looked at what were some of the things that we felt or we saw a struggle, there was a struggle on our team. What are some of the areas that we could focus on that could help someone else from both a supervisor vision of view as well as a subordinate? What are some of the tools that could help them as they're transitioning? We looked at some of the things that helped us coming through the ranks in our career. Now, Jennifer McCoy and Kathy Wynn, they set kind of the foundation. They're a little bit more seasoned, a little bit further along in their career than I am. And with setting that foundation, they looked also at some of the things that helped to get them to that length of time and that tenure that they've had with the county as well.
So do you subscribe to perhaps having a mentor or a buddy within the department that can help people as they transition through their journey within their career?
Yeah, we definitely foster that, even with our continuing education program. So the cohort will meet every 4 weeks, every 4 months after they've graduated.
The program?
Yes.
Wow.
And so one of the cohorts will host it, come up with a theme, come up with something that they want to discuss that will help everyone. And then they will kind of facilitate that piece of it. So it could be something we've learned before that might be a refresher. It could be something new that they said, hey, we've had a challenge with this. Let me show you how we've overcome that.
That's amazing.
And that think tank, when that think tank gets together, it's amazing just to see some of the other supervisors that are also chiming in on the things that they've experienced or how that idea may have helped them along the way. So
I love that idea of buy-in.
Yes.
From the team, and I guess reflecting and reviewing what's working for some may need to be retweaked, right, so that it will work for others in the department. Because leadership is not a cookie cutter kind of thing. That's one of the hardest things is when you're working with people and they're different and they receive information differently. They learn information differently. So having those seasoned employees there is a blessing. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Awesome, thank you. So I think a lot of people is going to want to know more about this program and how they can get involved in it or participate. So who gets to participate in the program? You may be getting some calls, Phoebe and Judy. Okay, so who's eligible to participate? I understand it's not countywide. It's primarily within your department, is that right?
So right now it is available to water system employees.
Yeah.
Any employee can submit an application explaining why they would like to participate. So in the classes, we have a combination of employees who are not yet in a supervisory position, but who would want to be one in the future.
So high performance, high potential
Yes.
employees, right?
Along with people who are already supervisors who want to just hone and improve some of their leadership skills. Maybe they're newer supervisors, or maybe they just haven't had leadership training in a while and wanted to go through the class to continue it. So it's open to every one of our employees.
I like that. I like that. So culture is big here at Cobb, and I truly value culture and the way that we set norms that define us and add value to what we do as leaders and teams. So talk to me a little bit about culture within the water system.
So I would say one of our cultures long term has always been trying to develop employees. Education and training and ongoing education. There are a lot of our positions that require state licenses or certain certifications, and you have to get the next level license to move up to the next position. So we've historically focused on a lot of just technical training. Also, it's very important for our staff to stay up to date on regulations and new technology in water and wastewater and stormwater. So we have lots of continuing education that we send them to through our local professional association to stay up to date. But that's been historical. When I came in, I really wanted to start focusing and giving additional soft skills. So we had one supervisor who recognized that his entry-level staff struggled in interviews. So he started doing some interviewing training for his staff.
Yeah.
And then the next step was we elevated to this leadership program to again, more soft skills so employees can get that soft skills training as well.
You know, soft skills are great, and my degrees are within the soft skill, area. And I think they're coming back. I think at one point in time we were thinking that soft skills weren't that important. How you write, how you speak, and the ability to communicate with others was not that important, right? So I'm glad to hear you say soft skills are important, because they are. You can have engineering degrees and BPEs and doctorates and all that, but if you don't understand, and even with AI, right, the impetus of AI, you can get away from really understanding how important it is to communicate with your employees. So Rakesh, you've been really quiet over there.
Oh yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about, you are one who've gone through the program, right?
Yes.
Talk to me about what the program has meant to you, and would you recommend it to other people?
Yeah, this program is definitely a very recommending program, and it touches the skills like self-awareness. It also touches like emotional intelligence, and it also touches to the self-awareness kind of thing. So you know the people and your team better. So by knowing yourself as a leader, and you knowing your personality style and knowing others' personality style, you kind of judge the things, and sometimes you just let the thing go away and give some time and come back to the situation and fix the situation on the later time.
Self-awareness is really important, truly understanding the type of person and the type of leader you are and the one that you want to be. I think what leaders sometimes often forget is that people are watching how we lead.
Yes,
right?
definitely, yes.
And so it's a choice. You can choose to be this type of leader or that type of leader. But I guess the strength is in understanding who you are as an individual. And leadership is inspiration. And so when others see that you are taking on the extra work to go through leadership development programs or courses, it says a lot about who you are as a leader, because you never stop growing. So I understand that part of the tradition of the course is each participant has to come up with a quote,
Yes.
right? So what was your quote?
So during the LDP graduation, my quote was from Simon Sinek, and the quote says,
Love
"Leadership
Simon.
is not about being in charge.
Yeah.
It is about taking care of those who are in your charge." And this quote, it resonates straight to our LDP program. That LDP program, which emphasizes more on the leadership style, that is servant kind of leadership. And that servant leadership, the role of the leader is to serve the people.
That's right.
Serve their team. Then we emphasize more in our LDP program, and that's why this quote resonated to me, and that resonated completely entire program. And
Totally focusing on servant leadership,
servant
right?
leadership.
It's not about you. It
It's
is about how you
how
take
take-
care of other people.
Yeah.
John Maxwell talks a lot about that all things will come if you take care of other people. Yours will come. So I love that part about the program. So if you had one last thing to say about the leadership program, I'll give each of you a few seconds to think about what would you say about the program before we wrap up today.
I'll start.
Okay.
Give y'all a few minutes to think. I'll start.
Okay.
So, I would say that I have been just ecstatic about the staff that have gone through it, and everyone that has come out of it has said that they enjoyed it and that they should do it. You know, they would recommend that other people do it. So it's great to see that they are getting something out of it. And I really think it's important that the focus of the program really is servant leadership. They touch on that every class. They talk about that a little bit and have it because, you know, when you're in a supervisor position, a supervisor is there to get the daily tasks done, oversee operations, assign tasks, make sure that they're completed. A leader is there to motivate their team and inspire their team to accomplish those tasks and do better. And a supervisor should be a leader,
Right.
but a leader does not have to be a supervisor.
I agree.
Any person in any level of an organization can be a leader through setting examples, work ethic, helping their coworkers, and then inspiring good change.
Right. I love that. So I think the takeaway that I hear from you is that everybody is a leader, right? It starts with you, and you can do it right where you are. Right? Be an inspiration. Be positive around other people. Find ways to encourage and empower others around you. Okay, Phoebe. Final few words.
It has been such a joy
Yeah.
to be able to see people, especially when you go back and you sit on an interview panel and you watch them talk about the things that they've gleaned and taken away from the program. When you hear someone say, I've implemented this and it's
Yeah.
worked for me, I realized this about myself and realized I had to do better and actually did better, and the results that came from that. For me, there's no greater joy. Just
Yeah.
seeing the change life, just
Yeah.
seeing that people want that change. And even some of the things that we do is encourage them to say that this is not the end. Once you get that, graduation certificate, it's not the end. Constantly continue to feed yourself and feed your mind. And we encourage them. We even have a library where they can check books out. We
Wow.
encourage them to listen to podcasts and even, listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy person. I'll listen to it while I'm asleep. I put headphones on and listen to it. And I encourage others to do the
Yeah,
same because
yeah.
your subconscious never sleeps.
That's right.
And as long as you're putting it in, you'll be surprised when that time comes, that information just comes out. You're like, oh, where'd that come from? That was something that I learned or I picked up that I
Yeah.
remembered because I put it in to begin with. And it was
Right.
ready when that time came to come out and be useful.
So proud of you. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. All right, Rakesh, bring it home.
Yeah, so this program, I gained a deeper understanding of the self-awareness,
Yeah,
emotional intelligence, and active listening.
yeah.
And these skills helped me to foster a culture in my team that they feel valued, they feel supported, and they feel important. And by creating such a positive cultural environment in your team, I saw and witnessed that the work performance of my team has increased.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So that's
Thank
what
you.
I like about this program. And I would like to thank you, Ms. Judy John, and who comes up her vision, and that her vision have helped me a lot to be my supervisor. And it has also, I'm nervous right now, you
That's
see.
okay. It's all good.
Because I am in front of cameras, but yeah, her vision has shown me how to come out and openly talk to people.
Yeah.
And it has opened me up a little bit.
Good.
Otherwise, before I was like so introvert and so much not a public person, in short.
Right.
But she has opened me by this program. I have opened up a little bit, and I really appreciate for your vision and your dedication to complete the vision, and I feel so supported, and
Good.
I won't stop.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Can
Yes,
I
Judy.
just say, sorry, I know I already
no,
had
no.
my chance, but I just want to take the chance to tell you, thank you for letting me bring Phoebe
Absolutely.
and Rakesh to participate in this, because part of a leader is inspiring other leaders.
right.
So I wanted to bring other staff that can show what they have learned through this program and how we're bringing up other staff to be leaders.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you.
today.
Appreciate it.
That
Thank you.
wraps up this episode of Driven to Lead. Judy and her incredible team provided invaluable insights into what true servant leadership is all about and their innovative approach to cultivating leadership excellence through the water system. Here's what I want you to remember. Leadership isn't defined by your title or participation in a program. It's about how you choose to show up every single day. What weather do you bring to the office? Regardless of your workplace or position, authentic leadership begins with you. So, I challenge you to actively seek opportunities to develop your leadership skills, serve others meaningfully, and drive positive change right where you are. Drop a comment below sharing how you're leading in your daily life, and we'll select one winner to receive exclusive Driven to Lead swag. Looking ahead to next month, we'll be sitting down with Director Michael Register, who is the Director of the Department of Public Safety. And he'll be sharing powerful insights from his extensive law enforcement experience in both the military and public safety leadership, exploring Leading in a Changing World, which is a book entitled Teams of Teams by U.S. Army retired General Stanley McChrystal. It's going to be awesome and an exceptional conversation that you just won't want to miss. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. So until next time, keep leading with purpose and don't forget your why.